What's going on, everybody? Hey, listen, y'all know what's going to happen in I think in the upcoming weeks ahead. And when I say upcoming weeks, we only got about two left in the year. Stimulus check is on its way. Now, here's what we're going to do. We are going to talk about, for those of you that are trying to build a freelance business, or you might have had an idea and you're not sure whether or not it should be a hobby or perhaps a business. What are you going to do with this money that's coming your way? Now, the first thing that I want to do is we're going to take you through, I am going to take you through live each step, the stuff that I've got that I use to build my business, and then also the stuff that you're probably going to need that I may not have, or even the stuff that I might have wasted money on that you really don't need to start your business. So here's what we're going to do first, because it's going to be a live situation. What you're going to see here is my screen is going to look like this, okay? I'm using Jamboard instead of Microsoft OneNote. I think it's probably more secure to do more doodling and sketching. And you can see some tabs that are up there already. We're going to get there. What I want to show you is the first thing is an update of like what's actually happening. So let's put in stimulus check update. All right. And let's look at the first site. I actually tried to do this before so that, we can get something reliable. So for those of you that don't know, get this ad out the way. Get another ad out the way. Here we go. Second stimulus check updates. Congress is to vote on the $900 billion COVID-19 relief plan that would give most Americans $600. Okay. So not everybody is going to get it. If you don't get it, that's okay. So here's what this is not for. This is not for people who you got to pay your bills that's due for your business. Most likely 600 ain't going to do it anyway. So this is really for individuals who are like, man, I really had an idea or something that I wanted to do, and perhaps I will be able to invest in this thing so that I can be able to add another stream of revenue that will extend beyond $600. You got to think beyond that. Okay. How do you take your 600 and turn it into 6,000 or 600,000? Now, I have never hit 600,000 yet. We'll get there. But what I'm trying to say is don't just take the 600 and start paying off things that you can really delay on if you would really just take that and build something with it. Okay, so let's get back to so y'all know this is legit. Like most of us are getting a little bit of pocket change to start some stuff. So here we go. The first thing that I want to let you know, if I can find my pen. Where's my pen? Where we at? Oh, there we are. Okay. The first thing that I want to tell you is that some things is not really that deep just yet. I remember asking a good friend of mine, what do I call my business? What do I use? How do I I don't know what to name it. The naming thing isn't as deep as you think just yet. Okay, so keep that in mind. Some of us will waste a lot of time on business cards. I got some right there on trying to figure out the name without actually getting to the core of what your actual business is about first. So here's the first thing that I would suggest. And for those of you that are watching, maybe you need to create a running tally here for me. But the first thing that I would suggest is to figure out your actual business model. This is probably one of the most valuable books that I have. And the cost, it's probably cheaper now, is, let me just write it down. It's $34.95. Okay. I have no affiliate links for this stuff, by the way. Maybe it would have been smart if I did that, but y'all don't need to worry about that. So the first thing is, what is your business model? What is it going to be about? So in the business model generation, and I'll probably sketch this out for you. As a matter of fact, no, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to actually show you what it looks like and then bring it in so that you can actually see it. The business model canvas is going to help you to first shape out what on earth am I trying to build a business around. Here's my suggestion to you. Do not try to form a business plan just yet. It's a waste of time. Focus on a business model. Do y'all see this? Let me see if y'all can see that. This is what I'm talking about right here. The business model canvas. It is something that will help you to get into, let's see if we can get a little bit closer here, getting into the specifics of what you're actually trying to provide. So I want to spend a little bit of time here because this is probably going to be the most free, if I can even use that word, asset where you don't need to spend money on this. It's really just you thinking about what do you have right now that you could probably use to deliver value to your customer base. So here's the first thing that you need to do. Figure out what on earth are you trying to provide. And that's how come they have the little gift here, little present. What is your value proposition? Guys, I use this oftentimes now as a barrier of entry for individuals. So like, I have this cool idea. If they can't work through this canvas, it's 9 components. If they can't work through this thing, then it's probably best that they do a hobby, use it as a hobby. But if they have the stick-to-itiveness to work through each and one of these segments and then use it as a hypothesis, treat this canvas as a hypothesis. For those of you that are just coming in, treat this whole 9 component piece here as a hypothesis to figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work for your business. So I'm probably going to spend more time on that than all of the other things that you're probably thinking about. This is going to save you time and money. I guarantee it. So here we go. Value propositions. What value do you deliver to your customer? Which one of your customer problems are you trying to solve? And what bundles of products and services are you offering to each customer segment? And which customer needs are you satisfying? Now you're like, well, I don't know how to do that. Like, what would I do? Well, before you can give a gift, you have to understand your people. Who are you creating value for? And what is their most, or who are your most important customers? So here they have like different segments, like the mass market, niche market. Don't worry about that right now. What you want to focus on is who on earth is your people. So the business model canvas, I told you, this is the first one right here that you want to deal with, that you highly want to get. It's a hefty book, about $35, but it's important for you to start working through what are you trying to sell. Your business may look good, but if it's not selling anything, it's not a business. So, and I'm also specifically talking to freelancers here. So caveat, there's a difference between freelancing and developing a startup. A startup is to create something that's not just profitable and sustainable, but it's scalable. It more than likely means that as the founder, you are going to take your hands off of the work and put on the management role, the management hat, and start bringing in people to do the work that you could do, but they're hopefully going to do it 10 times better than you are, 5 times better than you are. They are going to do the work better, or they're just going to do the work, And so you're managing those individuals while your role is to continue making business. You have to continue making phone calls or DMing people up on LinkedIn or Instagram, or maybe creating content. And even that part, to an extent, eventually you're going to have to find somebody to create content for you. The point is, what can you divulge or divest into other people? Delegate is probably the word, to other people, while you focus on keeping the business part. And you're like, well, what does that mean? You'll see as we continue going through this canvas, you'll see what the business part is all about. So who are your customer segments? If you're scratching your head, here's another free resource. I'm putting it in, like I'm Googling this stuff with you, because this is how we work out things, right? Empathy map. There we go. What you want to do is you want to find out the individuals. Take a look here. You want to get into the mind of the people that you're trying to serve. You have a product, cool. Is it going to help you? Is it going to serve them? Here's what the business model, the empathy canvas looks like. Zoom in on here. Empathy canvas answers 7 questions. The first one is, who are you empathizing with? That's your customer, right? Who is the person that you want to understand? What is the situation that they're in? What is their role in the situation? Okay, so let's just give an example. Maybe you are trying to connect with somebody who owns a bicycle shop. So what are you empathizing with? Okay, well, this person is a bicycle shop owner. What is the situation that they're in? Let's say that they're in New York City, and they have a vision of creating a community of cycling that will replace cars in Manhattan. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. Actually was a real goal for somebody, actually, by the way. So then you have to look at, okay, well, what do they need to do? Well, what do they need to do differently? Or what jobs do they need or that need to get done? Well, first of all, they would need to get bicycles, right? They would need to acquire bikes, or maybe make them. So they would need the parts. If there's somebody who's not just an owner but knows how to build bikes, what decisions do they need to make? So there's a lot of decisions as a store owner, because remember, they're not just a bike repair shop. Maybe I didn't tell you that, but we're adding that information on right now. But they're also selling actual bikes. Maybe they're selling collectible bikes. So how will we know that they're successful? When they make money, when they actually are hitting a particular benchmark that they do have, a particular revenue goal, right? And so when they're not losing, but their net income is actually net income, and it's not, in the loss. So anyway, That's what we're looking at, what their goal is, what they're doing. It has nothing to do yet with what they see, which is number 3. What do they see in the marketplace? How are they competing with other people in Manhattan who are also selling bikes? What are they saying? What have they heard other people say? How can we imagine what they're saying? Man, this thing is so difficult. I'm trying so hard to get people to change their minds on giving up their car to ride bikes. Just throwing it out there, but the point is, you need to understand and to develop what we call in the UX world a user persona. You need to create a story around this person. Give him a name, give her a name. So maybe his name is Jim. Maybe his name is Jim Smith. Jim short for James, but he likes to be called Jim. Slim Jim. Why? Because he puts on Speedos and he loves to ride. And now Slim Jim broke his legs. So now Slim Jim is in a wheelchair, but he wants to give the vision of other people to learn how to ride bikes. Well, Jim, what do? What has Jim done today in his wheelchair? Well, Jim has had 3 people come in and he has successfully been able to repair their bikes, but he hasn't gotten people to come in to sell the bikes. Y'all see what I'm saying? You have to paint this entire picture. One of the interesting or most important things that you should probably have in this whole persona is jobs to be done. That's number 2. What do they need to do? Why is this important? Because as you go through what they see, what they hear, what they do, look at number 7. What do they think? And what do they feel? Here's the pains. The pains is not just their fears and anxieties. It's also what's preventing them from doing something. All right. What are the obstacles that's preventing Slim Jim in the wheelchair from selling more bikes? What are the gains? What do you actually want them, or not what you want to, but what do they want to do? So their hopes and dreams isn't just to make money selling bicycles, but they want to have a community of people who are willing to reduce the level of pollution in the Big Apple by riding more bikes. Y'all got the picture. So now that you have rounded out who the person is, let's go back to the business model. You put that there. Your customer segments are bicycle owners like Slim Jim. Now, as a matter of fact, you know what we're going to do? Here's what we're going to do, guys. And let me just go back to see if anybody's still watching me. It's probably like maybe just one person watching me. It doesn't matter. There'll be more people watching later on. I guarantee it. What we're going to do is we are going to take the Slim Jim example. Where is it? And let's see if we can copy and paste this. We're going to save this image. And we're going to bring this into our first thing here. I don't know if it showed up. Did it show up? I don't think it showed up. Okay, there we go. I think I can just drag that. And then it should be able to just pop up there. Okay. So now we've got our customer. We got the person that we're trying to sell to. And let's do this, guys. We're gonna actually use some Post-its for this, okay? So first one is bicycle owners. And the whole thing is, well, store owners. How about that? Bicycle store owners, okay? Now you can have multiple things. So here's the thing. What are you going to give to Slim Jim? What are you going to give to people like Slim Jim who owns a store, he has bikes to sell, and he's really good at repairing them? What could be the value proposition that you can provide to him for him to say, oh, I really want your service. I want what you have to deliver. If you're in the comments, go ahead and write that, but I'm just going to go ahead and ideate. Oh, Mirtha, what's going on? I had to switch back. What's going on, Mirtha? Good to see you. I guess we can still, chop it up and connect. So right now, Mirtha, what's happening is I'm switching between screens, so I can't see everything at once. But I'm so glad that you are rocking it out with me. So yeah, Mirtha, let's chop it up. Let's see what we can come up with. the value proposition for bicycle store owners, what do you think it would be? If Jim knows how to build bikes, and if Jim knows how to sell bikes, but he's just having a hard time getting people to enter into his store, what do you think we could do to help Jim actually solve that problem? Well, one of the things that we can do is we can provide marketing. Maybe we do like a custom bike marketing service. Our marketing is just for people who run bicycle stores, right? So now it's like, okay, cool. Here's the thing. This is probably a poor way of putting it, because that's really just a service, quite frankly. Really would kind of go there in your channel. But what your value proposition really would be is you would let's say we would put like you would increase customers. Now, this is a terrible example. I'm just going off the top of my head though. You're increasing customers at a quick rate, right? Now, terrible, but it's enough for him to say, well, I have bikes, I don't have customers. Well, this is what we do. We increase your level of customers at a very quick rate. Now, here's the thing. Make it even more specific. Bicycle customers. You want people who are only interested in bicycling, okay? So there we go. Now, you're probably wondering, well, how would you do that? Now, here are the multiple channels. One of the things is that you have bike marketing campaigns, and another one is probably you have like some cool way of like creating events like let's bike marathons, or like, so there are things that you can do and things that you can create that would help Slim Jim in the wheelchair to be able to sell his bikes and to repair more. Because now people are doing the bike marathons. Guess what? Their bike might, need some repair after the wear and tear from the event. Or Slim Jim could be at the finish line when everything is done, and he's not even there to sell his bike, but he's the one that's giving the prize. He's the one, so that's what we're looking at. Your job though is to increase his sales by bringing in customers. Okay, so let's look at the next one here. The customer relationships. What type of relationship does each of your customer segments need to establish and maintain with those individuals? Well, how about this? And this is an easy one here. So I'm just going to put here, you want to have like a one-on-one relationship. This is like where you actually go into the store and you make sure that Slim Jim is good. You're not really just sending out emails and all of that. You're showing up personally and making sure that what he's doing is following, hopefully, the advice or following the implementation that you've given him. Okay, so now that you've gotten that, you're going to have to ask yourself, well, what are the key activities that I'm going to need to do in order to make Slim Jim's bicycle store be a success? Well, this is now focusing on what you need to do as a business. So the first thing that you're probably going to need to do is, if you are in the marketing space, and not all of us are, but if you're in the marketing space, you would probably, need to create content. Probably, right? You'd probably need to create enough content for people to see and to understand that you actually do what you do. People won't know until you tell them. Somebody actually just recently told me that. So then you've got to give me another key activity, guys, that would be beneficial. You would need, let's see. I'm just trying to think of something right now. Let's just go with creating content for now. And then let's say your key resources. Well, in order to create content, let's say that you would need a website. Okay. So anyway, you guys, you are getting the picture here. And the reason why I'm just spending some time here is because immediately, and I'm hoping that those that are like, he's not getting to the point, good. And they probably have left already. That's fine. What I'm trying to do is to tell you that the most important resources that you need is not even, you don't even need to pay for. As a matter of fact, you almost didn't even pay for the book. You got the resources online right here. So that's how come I'm kind of massaging this just a little bit, because I want to hammer in that before you just go in just trying to spend money on resources. I've done that. A lot of people have done that. Business cards, all kinds of, you don't need that stuff just yet until you have your business model in place. Key partners, who might be the people that you would need to connect with in order for Slim Jim in a wheelchair to have a successful bike marathon or marketing campaigns, right? So let's say that you want to focus on bike marathons as the thing, then you would need to partner with individuals who are, probably in the sports sector in some form or fashion, people who know how to create those kinds of events, right? So sports events or agents of some sort, people who know how to connect with other people. Okay, now the nitty gritty part here is the cost structure. What is it going to cost for the activities, the resources, and the partners that you're going to have? So that's going to be a cost here. And then also the revenue stream. How much is it going to bring in? So this isn't how much is it going to bring in for Slim Jim in the wheelchair. This is how much is it going to bring in for you? What are you selling? So in other words, let's say that your revenue is going to cost your revenue is going to cost. Let's say that you're charging this at 2,500, but it costs you, and there are more resources than just a website, but it costs you for, doing all of this. It's probably going to cost you, just making up a number here. Let's say it costs you 2,000. What that means is that you're probably not making much money, 500. So, but the thing is, you want to have a business model, which would be this, in place to answer all of the questions. These are the 9 key components that are going to run your business. Don't worry about a business plan yet. Don't spend money on a business plan professional just yet. Most of this you can do yourself or by ideating with somebody else or even a potential customer and ask them the questions. Go through the empathy map, this right here with them. Like, don't spend your money just yet. Stimulus is coming. Don't spend it just yet. All right. So just keep that in mind. I will keep hammering that because a lot of you will get lost in the sauce and start spending things that you don't need. Get that through your head. Work on your business model first. And if you really need some in-depth help, buy the book. But you don't even need to buy that just yet, because there's some free resources by strategizer.com, these individuals who create these books that will help you out. Okay, so let's keep it rolling here. That's the first thing. Now, when you become a little bit more seasoned and you start testing this out, I would suggest test out your business model first. You might even have to do it for free. Test it out first before you start locking in a name, before you start developing an LLC. As a matter of fact, the reason why I was able to do mine more quickly was because I was already doing some of this stuff already. I was already doing some copywriting and doing some, branding stuff. So it was easy for me to now start thinking about, okay, what do I want to call myself? But even that, don't spend too much time on that either. We'll get there because you can always do DBAs, doing business ads and all of that. Okay, so that's the first thing, guys. This first resource, I'm going to just put it down here, is the business model generation. And the business model generation, if you actually do need to purchase it, is, let's go to Amazon right quick so that we can see how much the business model generation costs. Amazon, why can't I type properly? Amazon business model generation. Oh, see, look, remember I told you it was 34? Now it's 26, okay? So we're going to just round it out and just put like $30, okay? Put there. Okay, maybe this could be the sheet that we just have, like the running of how much everything costs, right? Whoops. Okay, next. What's the next thing that we need to focus on? Here's my suggestion. Now that you're like, okay, this thing is working, people are liking what I'm doing, I need to, create an account. Some people would recommend have an actual business account separate from the get-go first. Cool. Some people would say, nah, just be agile. Go ahead and try to figure out whether or not this is going to work. Hey, what's going on, Rob? So I'm on two different screens, Rob. So like, I gotta like switch back to actually see the content. So, but it's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. So some people would say, no, split up the business account from your personal first and go immediately and try to do it. You could, but if you're a freelancer, there is a simple way to do this. I'm going to give you the resource right now before we talk about what I used, which is this right here. I use LegalZoom, and you don't have to get the pretty binder and all of that. You know, some people are just want to be a little bit more fancy and more organized than others. That's cool. And you don't even need to use LegalZoom either. There's a cheaper way to do it. But I'm just telling you the process that I did when I first started out. Could save so much more money before if I didn't do it this way. So I just want you guys to learn from this. The next thing, and hey, Rob, if you have any suggestions, by all means, throw them in while we're talking about this. The next thing is this. You want to, let me bring this up. What did we talk about? We didn't talk about legals. Guys, what were we just talking about just now? Oh, yes, QuickBooks. So you don't have to use QuickBooks, but there is QuickBooks Self-Employed. QuickBooks Self-Employed is what I started using before I switched over, because what QuickBooks Self-Employed allows you to do is to easily separate your personal from your business expenses while you're still using one account. And it also allows you to automatically track your mileage without having to, at the end of the day or at the end of the week, trying to really figure it out or have another app. It does it all automatically. You just have to be comfortable with, you know, your phone tracking you everywhere that you go. And then at the end of the week or every few days or whatever, it'll tell you, is this a business or is this a personal travel? Okay. So, but take a look here. So this is what QuickBooks Self-Employed does. And not only that, you also included, or it's also included with the TurboTax bundle. So I've used that as well. Just know when you transition from QuickBooks Self-Employed to QuickBooks Online, QBO, so this is QBSE, QuickBooks Self-Employed. Then you have the QBO. You don't get some of these benefits. Like you're going to have to do your taxes yourself. Like there's some things that you have to pay for extra, which doesn't come automatically with QuickBooks Self-Employed. Keep that in mind. But if you're doing the self-employed, it's $750, I guess, for now, but it's probably $15 after, you know, some promo, or $25 a month. Okay. So let's say that you decided to do your self-employed tax bundle. You're looking at $25. So let's just add that. Okay. Let me go back here. Just want to make sure that we're all on the. Okay. Rob says that he started out with Wave Accounting. And it's free. And here's the website, waveapps.com. Thanks, Rob, because you know what I started out with was, you know, the QBO, right, was with QuickBooks, but there are and have evolved to be other accounting apps that you can use right now that you don't have to spend money on. So that is actually a great one. I don't know about Wave Apps, but guys, check out Wave Apps. All right, I'm going to put it back up here again. And Rob is definitely much farther along than I am when it comes to the entrepreneurial venture. So listen to what Rob says. Wave Accounting, but it's waveapps.com. Okay, so I'm going to leave that up for a little bit. For those of you that might be looking at QBO, though, give me 1 second here. Oh, did I pull it up in the right? Oh, I didn't pull it up in the right. Okay, QuickBooks Self-Employed. I want to show you this, and then we're going to look at Wave Apps. Okay, so there you go, QuickBooks. If you want to spend money, $25. But what Rob said was there's waveapps.com. And with waveapps.com, he says it's free. And let's just say it's probably just as competitive. Accounting software that works as hard as you do, creates professional invoices for free, payment solutions for your business, simplifies the payroll experience. So I'm wondering, Rob, does this allow you to do other things too, like, you know, tracking mileage and all of that? Does it allow that as well? If it does, just let me know, Rob, if you're still there. If it doesn't, then, you know, that's there are trade-offs, right? There will be trade-offs. But let's say that you decided not to use Wave Apps. I'm going to put a thing here for your accounting. It can be free or $25. Okay. Here's the next thing. As you're now like building out, this is like you're now building out the infrastructure of the actual business. As you can see, we didn't even touch the name yet. we didn't touch what this thing should be called because it's not that deep. Rob says that there's no mileage, but everything else, he says everything else is pretty good. Okay, cool. So you got options. For me, I would suggest using the one that you're most comfortable with. If you think that it's going to be, yeah, Rob, yeah, I also used QuickBooks Self-Employed as well until and you probably then switched over when things started to get a little bit bigger, right? Or just scaled out and you're like, okay, I'm going to need something a little bit more robust. I do have an actual separate business account as opposed to just using everything from the person and being able to meter it out automatically. One of the reasons why I do like QuickBooks, and maybe Wave Apps does it too, is this idea of swiping. Like swiping left or swiping right easily. The UI is so simple for what's personal and what's a business expense. But yeah, but I like the fact that we have somebody here that has used something that's different and is a competitor. So yeah, yep, exactly. So Rob says that he uses QuickBooks Online now, and his CPA requires it. Yeah, Eventually, there's just some industry standard software that you just can't get away from. So that's that. Hey, Rob, let me know if you want to hop on this thing too, man. If you want to hop on this live, just let me know, man. I'll add you on right quick. As a matter of fact, I will drop this. I will drop this here. It's probably dicey to do. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to drop it in the comments. I'm going to DM it to you just in case. I don't know if you're free, Rob, but let me just go ahead and send this to you so that we can just kind of chop it up and talk about this. And no pressure. You may or may not be available. It's all good. So good. Okay, so I just sent that to your Facebook just now, Rob. Okay, he's got 10 to 15. Okay, cool. All right. So I just sent that to you. All right. So let's see. What else are we looking at here? Now let's talk about we're looking at the framework of, okay, how am I going to manage my money with this thing? The next thing that I would suggest, now you don't have to do it. I'm giving you the probably typical way that most of you are going to do this. So I'm going to suggest to you what I did or show you what I've done, but then also show you the alternatives. Rob just shown us a great alternative to what QuickBooks is. In other words, you don't need to use QuickBooks right away just yet. There are apps, there are alternatives that are out there that are free, okay? So here's another one. LegalZoom. LegalZoom for all of the paperwork and everything. Once again, you don't need to use it, but for a lot of you that are overwhelmed by paperwork and all of that, it's probably going to be less of a headache. And be careful with LegalZoom because if you're not careful, they'll take your money. Okay, so let's do this. LegalZoom.com. Okay. And I'll just keep checking back and forth just in case you come on, Rob. Okay, here we go. So with LegalZoom, this is what you want to do. You first of all have to figure out a name. More than likely, we're talking about freelancers here. More than likely, you're going to create an LLC. More than likely. Okay, we're not talking about startups. As a matter of fact, if you want to do a legit startup, you would not only not do an LLC, I believe it would be like a C Corp in Delaware, because there are more flexibility. Apparently, there's more flexibility in certain states, especially in Delaware, when it comes to actual business legal stuff that I still have no idea about yet. Okay, there's arcade building. What's going on, man? Flexibility. Apparently, there's more flexibility in certain states, especially in Delaware, when it comes to actual. What's going on, Rob? Rob, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my legal my earphones. I have no idea about yet. Okay, so that you can.
What's up, man?
What's good? I think we might have a delay. So
let me put my earbuds in.
Rob, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my my earphones. Let's see here. Okay, so that you can.
What's up, man?
What's good? I think we might have a delay.
We do. Let me put my earbuds in.
You hear that? You hear that delay? I wonder if it's me. So let's you know what, Rob? It might be me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I hear it. I think. Okay. No, I think some of it is we oh snap. Wow, there is a delay.
Yeah.
All right.
so so okay. So you know what? Let's move.
I'm gonna
Go
jump
ahead.
out and jump back in.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so while Rob is jumping out and jumping back in, one of the things that I did when I first started out was using LegalZoom, and more than likely, like I said, you're going to be developing an LLC. As a freelancer, don't get into the business cards and all of that yet. You need to have a particular structure in place, okay? And this is what you want to do. When you click on that, you're going to see how much. Well, you know what? Then you have to come up with a name. Do you see where mine is? Like, this is part of the autofill thing here. The easiest thing to do. Let me see. I think Rob is back in here.
Yep.
Hey, Rob, we're good?
I think so.
All right, there we go. Okay, yeah. I was just showing them that as a freelancer, starting off with freelance, the thing, and I don't think it was a mistake as much as it was you're either paying for time or money. I literally was able to get everything that I needed to get started literally in one day.
Yeah.
If you use LegalZoom, they immediately give you your EIN number, but everything else is being processed. But you get that like ASAP. Yeah. So you actually use your EIN, which is your employee identification, is an employer identification number. It's kind of like your social security number for your business.
Yeah.
And that is what you're going to use to actually open up your business account. So for those of you that are like, I need to open up a business account. Well, the first thing that you're going to need to do before opening that is they're going to ask you for your EIN. That's the things that you're going to need, right? So you don't have to do it this way though, right, Rob? Like you can actually do it.
You can do it yourself.
Well, free.
You can do it for free. Yeah. You can just go to the IRS website and get your EIN. Yeah. You can get it immediately.
Yeah, immediately as well. And then the only thing that you're paying for is, what are you paying for? Like the registration through the state, right? So
yeah, if you're doing the LLC, depending on what your state is, you're paying for the registration, your paperwork, your articles of organization, you're paying for that setup, and then the filing, depending on if the state requires you to do an expedited filing or not. So here's the thing: if you're filling out if you're starting a business now during quarantine, during COVID, and that governmental office is closed, they may require you to do the expedited filing, which is, an extra $25, an extra $50.
Glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, because back in the day, you could walk into the Department of Assessments and Taxation, do the paperwork, and then you'd have to go pick it up a couple of weeks later or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So let's add that. So would you say then we would add then for filing?
Consider about $200 depending on your state. I'm in the state of Maryland. So you're probably running anywhere between $150 and $200 for the actual filing, etc.
Gotcha. Guys, here's what I wanted to let you know. This is probably going to be maybe the second, if not the first, most expensive part of the business.
Yeah.
This right here. This right, because once again, remember, we're talking about freelancers. You're not trying to purchase land, or you're not trying to make a partnership with some manufacturing company just yet. We're not talking about that. This is for people who are just trying to be writers, or maybe people who have the gifts or the resources that are probably in their house right now. Where you can just quickly build a Shopify website or an Etsy site, or even just use your speaking ability. And all you need now is just the platform that will, charge you monthly. And then from there, you just go ahead and do your thing.
Can I give people an example because I don't think everybody understands why it's important to do an LLC versus a sole proprietorship using your social security number. Here's the difference. So for the most part, you will be okay. Right? However, it's kind of like insurance. You don't buy insurance because you're going to have an accident. As I won't say it how Chris Rock says it, but insurance is like in case stuff, right? In case stuff happens. So the LLC protected me. I got sued several years back, right? In
Okay.
one of my businesses. And when people sue you, sometimes if you go to court, they can attach your personal finances or your personal accounts, right? If you're an LLC, they can't do that because now your accounts, everything is separate from your personal stuff, right? If you're doing
separate legal entity,
it's
like
a separate legal entity.
So to speak.
Yeah. If you're in business underneath your social security number as a sole proprietor, if anything happens, and I'm not saying that it is, I don't think anybody goes into business saying, you know what, I'm just gonna mess up on purpose. It's right. It's stuff happens sometimes. If you get into a case where you're trying to do a job and you hire another freelancer or a contractor, right, to do certain things. You take on the liability for that person. Or if there's a job that requires certain things and you don't deliver on time and the company, your client now gets crazy and is like, listen, I lost $500,000 because you didn't deliver this on time. We're going to sue you for that. Right. So if they go there and they're like, okay, yep, we can attach your personal bank accounts. That's like crazy for people. So your LLC provides that blanket or that shield from your personals.
I like how Miguel says that the LLC is a financial veil.
It is.
And absolutely. And so I don't want, for those of you that are just tuning in on this, I don't want you to get overwhelmed. So we're going to probably get into the weeds just a little bit because I mean, this is just part of what, how we're doing business, but don't let this discourage you from just doing simple things. First, figure out what is it that who are you trying to sell? What do you need to sell to them? And then how are you going to structure your business? Are you going to use a Wave apps or are you going to use simple things? And then also, what are you going to name your LLC? Because here, and this is why I like how LegalZoom does it, like they get right to the point. Now, remember, you don't need to use LegalZoom, but if you decide to do so, they're going to ask you, okay, what are you going to call your name? Here's the top three. And I don't know if you can resonate with this, Rob, but the top three that was given to me, and I was like, these are so bland. But you know what? It's just about saving yourself time. The first one is this. Chris Bartley and Associates. Bartley and Associates. That was the first one. The second one is Group, which is what I have right now. The Bartley Group. And I think the other one was and Company. Bartley and Company. Like those are like the top three. And you know what? Sometimes the broader that you get, if you decide to switch your or pivot in your niche or whatever, you're covered. You're okay. Versus saying, go ahead, Rob.
So here's the thing some people don't understand. The LLC is like your legal entity. It does not have to be the name of the business that people see. What do I mean? So I have an LLC, but I have a couple of trade names. The name of my training company is Kinetic Communications. That's the name that people see. That's the name that's on business cards. That's name that's on everything. So that's the name that is out front. And to do a trade name is going to cost you a couple bucks extra. It could be like $25. But
and this is, and I don't want them to fall into this trap because we also call those DBAs, right? Doing business as.
Yes.
And on LegalZoom, it says the price starts at $99. You don't
need that. You don't need that.
Once again, if you've got the capital for LegalZoom to take, and at one point, Rob, I did, I did. So I got the whole thing. I was just showing, I had the whole LegalZoom fancy binder and everything. You don't need that to start, right? But it's going to give you peace of mind and you have the budget for it. Go ahead and do it. It gets it out of the way so that you can to what actually matters, which is making the product or doing the stuff that people want to pay for. Okay. So, but you're so right. You can have multiple DBAs, multiple fictional names, and they're like $35-$30 a piece, depending on the state that you're in. And so it allows you to still play around with, having like an umbrella, a brand under an overarching brand. And then you have, different services or things attached to the name.
So here's a recommendation though. Here's a recommendation I want to give to business owners, especially when you're starting out as a freelancer or a really small business. One of the things that happens is, one of the traps that you fall into is you do certain things and you look like a one-man show or a small entity when you're trying to get larger clients. Here's one thing that is a dead giveaway for that. If you buy a website or on your business cards, you call your name, the name of your company, and you end it with the LLC. If I see your website and it says carmechanicllc.com, I know that you're not a very big outfit, or that you're fairly new, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to put the LLC on your business card or on your website or on your branding.
Yeah. It's a rookie mistake.
Yeah.
So, I, especially because once again, you just might grow bigger. And when you do, you're going to have to change because remember, this is also about taxes too. It's not just about the financial veil piece, which is very important. It's also, how are you going to pay the government? And so the C Corp, the S Corp is actually different from how sole proprietorships or LLCs are structured in order to, when tax time comes, you have to pay. And okay, here's another thing. Since we're talking about taxes, actually, I don't want to scare them just yet. Rob. So keep going.
Well, no. I mean, but it's real though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about estimated. You're about to talk about quarterly estimated taxes, etc. Yeah. I mean, you need to have those conversations. But the other thing that some people aren't aware of is when you do sign up your business, you got this personal property tax that you've got to take care of as well. And so what is personal property tax? It's like, and it's kind of like this bogus thing, right? It's like, it's the government saying to you, we're giving you the right to run a business, and therefore we're going to charge you tax on the equipment that you use in your business. So, it may range anywhere from like $300 or something like that. It's not a whole lot, but it's kind of like the cost of doing business.
Right. And there's also a benefit in doing business too. You can use a room or carve out a space in the house and which is only used for work. We're not going to get into the sketchy. Only used for work. And then you can have multiple tax deductions, even the equipment that you buy specifically for that work. And this is why apps like QuickBooks or I think maybe Wave Apps does as well. They'll ask you very particular questions that's going to help you to actually make that back. Okay. So that's the next thing that we're looking at and let me just bring back this man, I need a dual screen at this point, Rob. So we've got DBAs, which maybe if it's necessary, let's just say it's another 35. So the next thing that I want us to focus on, I actually should have said this before, is you got to focus on an actual niche. Okay. So you're probably, and that's another free thing that you don't have to spend money on. So for me, and this one cost, what was this? How much did this cost? Winning the Story. Well, let me see. Hold on. I'm going to show you guys right now. Winning the Story Wars on Amazon. Let's see. I think it should tell us. Yeah. Amazon
is that your book? That's your book, man?
I wish it was. It's the book that inspired me to go down this path. I don't even know if it's okay. It's still in stock. It used to be 34. It's 19 right now. So it's $20. All you need is probably 1 or 2 resources. This is what it looks like. So I have it in the flesh. It's not something that, I'm telling you to get it. But I have a whole shelf full of books that are niched around what I'm focusing on. So I would suggest that you don't need to spend tons of money, but I would probably say that you would, let's call this research for your niche. How much do you think you spent, Rob? I don't even want to say how much I've spent.
Well, I mean, man, I've been in business 12 years. That's like
so your startup, your startup cost.
Yeah, I mean, it can be anywhere from sweat equity free to just a few $100s for deciding what's worth it in your business or what the future trends are, because there's one of the mistakes that people make, especially when you don't move fast enough, is that you noodle on something for like a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then by the time you get started on it, you're a little bit behind the curve. So I forgot who's the one that says this. It may be, I don't know if it was John Maxwell, but it was like fail fast.
Yes. Maybe not John Maxwell,
I don't
but
think it
I
was
know you're
John.
talking about. I
Yeah.
think it was Eric Rees, maybe.
Yeah.
These guys
Yeah.
was talking about like the lean strategy.
Yep.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah. So okay, so I put here 150. That's very conservative.
Yeah.
Very conservative. This is like the 150 that's including like maybe actual books that you would need to buy. But guess what, guys? You really don't need to buy anything per se. A
You
lot
go
of it
to
is
the
already
library,
online. Yeah,
online, you go to the
exactly.
library, Overdrive, take stuff out of the library if you want to do that. So, I mean,
Yeah.
YouTube University, dude.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
so much stuff there.
absolutely. You know, it's funny. The last time I actually went to a university to actually pay for, I mean, not pay for, to get any books, you know, just for research was high school.
Oh, geez. Wow.
For now, of course, I'm not counting, you know, when I was actually in university, right? But I'm like talking about like when I needed those resources.
Yeah.
Anyway, neither here
Yeah.
nor there. I know you got to go soon. The last thing that I would probably suggest not the last thing, maybe the second to last thing is now in COVID season, you probably don't need them, but business cards.
Mm-hmm.
There is not a controversy, but there is a different approach right now to how effective is you handing out a card to somebody versus just saying, "Hey, let me put my number in your phone." Or, you know, there's some cards out right now that are kind of the thing, like the NFC
Yeah.
near field. What is it called? Like communication, like where
Yeah.
you tap it on the phone and then it kind of pops up. There are different things. What is your take on actual business cards? I am, you know, I love designing stuff like this, but is it really necessary, especially in a post-COVID society where we may not be doing as many in-person networking meetups?
Yeah.
In
Well, even if we were in person, I would still say buy the smallest amount possible.
Yes, I agree.
Right? Do not go get a business card designed and do like purchase 1,000 of the business card. Get the small, get 50. If you can get hop on Vistaprint and get 50 cards, do that. Because you know, business cards, I don't want to say they're a waste of time. There are definitely times where if you meet the right person, if you're very intentional about your target or who are some decision makers that you want to meet, and you're in their place and they ask you for a business card, then you sure as better have a business card. Right?
Absolutely. I can't imagine enough times when I didn't have one. I was like, man, you know, but
yeah. But that said, if you go to a networking event, do not be the business card ninja.
Let me tell you something about that. You know, it's because when you start, first of all, you know, when you decide to invest in a premium, I'm not even going to put business cards in there. Honestly, I don't think I should. It's kind of that's a luxury right now, especially now in the space that we're in. You don't really need them per se. I use moo.com for all of my stationery stuff.
Moo's the bomb. I love Moo.
Premier. Now, this set, you don't have to use Moo. You go to your local print shop if you're still going to do this, because you're not going to listen to anything that we say. You can actually ask them to print out your cards in like 16 point or 18 point, and it still has good durability. Now, it's not going to be like Moo, but you know, print shops can actually do that. They can customize how thick you want your card, so they don't feel like it's just a throwaway piece of receipt that, you know, like a Zazzle. You know, hey, maybe Zazzle stepped up, but you know, there are some sites out there like Vistaprint can also do it for you as well. Vistaprint is really great at doing that. But anyway, all of that being said, don't waste your money on business cards unless you know for some reason you're going to, like you said, be in a networking space where it's necessary. Do not gamify your cards. I've been to so many conferences or even just like board meetings sometimes where people are just like, here's my card, here's my card, here's my card. You devalue. What you want to do is, and maybe this kind of switches over to networking a little bit, Rob. Just like your goal is not to talk to as many people as possible in the networking event. It's to talk to people who you believe can share, or maybe you can share the most value with, and then develop the connection where they now are worthy of receiving your card.
One of the things one of the things that I if I'm going to invest in business cards or any sort of business collateral,
Yeah.
my goal is to stand out.
Yes.
Right. So when I started my third business, actually, my first full-time business, I got these cards and they were plastic. Right. You
Okay.
could see through it and it was printed on, and nobody else had business cards like that.
Right.
Right. And so when I gave a card out, people, it wasn't just kind of like that. People took it and chuck it in their pocket. They were like, oh my gosh, whoa, okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. So they did that. So you can do that with business cards, but are there other ways for you to stand out? So for example, you talked about the NFC cards that and the different applications. What if there's a site that I use called Shorby, right? SHOR.BY. And I'm able to put like a bunch of my information there. I can put all of my social media links. Shorby. SHOR. Yeah, Shorby. It's short SHOR.BY.
.by. Okay.
Yeah. So you put all of your social media stuff, or Shorby.com. Yeah. You put all of your social media stuff there. You put everything that, all of your links, right? And then you can create a QR code that you keep on your phone, and then just have people, just do that QR code and it'll pull up your webpage or pull up your information page right on their phone. So when you do that little sexy piece of technology, people are like, oh my gosh, okay, that's different. I don't have that. Now you're socially conscious, you're environmentally conscious, and you're not, it's not this other thing that they have in their hand that they have to remember to look at later on. It's, literally something that the process of doing the QR code to the website is something they're going to remember. That you've created an emotional trigger, you've created an emotional foundation flag there, right? And so now they're going to think about, oh my gosh, who was that guy that did that thing with the phone? Let me check that out. Right.
You know what? So I like this because you can either differentiate in paper or preprint, a pre-press design, or digitally. And more and more, it just makes more sense to use the digital platform. Even I have to start thinking about that too, because I got a whole bunch here. What am I doing? My business card right now is the email signature in my email.
Yeah.
That's yet another way too, right? Where people are, asking for your contact information, but if you actually send them, convincing enough email or whatever it is, an introduction, all of the information is already there, including the logo. Like, you get really creative with those. Oh, and so if we're going to talk about that, maybe, Rob, I don't know if people know about this, but HubSpot has an email signature, a free email
generator. Yep, I love it.
Yeah, generator. I think this should be it right here. So you just go to HubSpot.com/email-signature-generator, or just put in HubSpot email and it'll just pre-populate for you. And guys, you can just add in your logo. You can, as you can see, a lot of this stuff is free. You can change the template, the type that you want. So far we've been kind of just giving you a lot of the resources that you really don't have to spend money on. Okay. So let's see. Now I decided to bring this up. I don't know if people need to know about or you need to deal with, but okay. This is the Logitech C922. I think the C920 is also up there as far as like the common, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because you do a lot more streaming than I do, but this is like it's been around for years, and I actually just bought mine maybe a month or two ago, and it's still around. So we're talking about industry standard. Would you say it was like an industry standard webcam at this
Logitech,
point?
I mean, if you look up any reviews online, just literally put in best webcams, you're gonna see the Logitech cameras
Let's do that right
in
now.
the top 5.
Best webcam 2020, and this look at that. He's right.
Best. Tom's guide.
Listen, you don't need a Brio. Brio is luxury.
I have a Brio, and it's it's nice, but hey, guys, that's what I'm on right now.
Okay, what I'm on right now is my phone.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, right. Like, now mind you, there are some ups and downs because of it, but it's actually worth. I think it's actually worth worth using. If you don't have a budget for it, just know that you actually can use your phone to stream. Now, why am I talking about streaming? As you know, is this like, well, I have a business that's doing this, I don't understand why I would need that. I would suggest that, especially beginning in the new year, that the content that you create, depending on what it is not just written. If that's what you do, that's great. I mean, I write too, but actually, you got to do some of this, I guess, unboxing stuff, because people like this kind of stuff. I suppose. But get one of these, put it on your computer, like, just like how you would anything else, plug it in, and then talk about what you're selling, or talk. Hold on, wait, Rob, I take that back. Talk about the value of what you want to sell without trying to sell.
Yeah. Well, I would even go one deeper than that. I think you are your core is like mine, storytelling, right?
Yeah.
And so how do we create connection points with people based on things that they already want or need? So how deep can you go into the research of your audience and start asking questions first, right? So that when you speak, you're not speaking about your stuff. That's not your starting point, right? So if we go back to story structure, setting, character, conflict, resolution, right?
Yes.
The resolution is your product, but that's not where you start. That's not the thing that you start out with. Your setting, character, conflict is that why for your audience. That's that connection thing, right? And so
I'm gonna insert this, Rob. Before you continue, because when we first started this thing, I spent a lot of time dealing with this, the empathy map. Dealing with the business canvas model. Who are you selling to first? And then provide the gift, the value proposition. So you're right. Look at it. Who are you empathizing with? What do they need to do? What do they see? What do they say? What do they hear? What are their frustrations? So anyway, keep going. But I just wanted them to know, like, listen, before you just try to say, I'm going to do this and build it, do they even need that?
Exactly.
But keep going, because you're hitting some good points.
Well, because I mean, we create businesses a lot of time based on stuff that we like or stuff that we want. And so we open the door and we're saying this. It's kind of like I used to live when we had bought our first house. There was a guy. One day I'm sitting at home and the doorbell rings, and I go to the door, and there's this guy standing there, and he's like, "Hey, we've got these carpets for sale. We've got Berber, we've got shag, we've got these," and he goes through a litany of about 10 different carpet types. I opened the door and allowed him to see inside. My entire house was hardwood. Right? So you could have saved about 15 minutes, sir. Right? You could have saved some gas. You could have saved, right? It's you had no idea what my need was, but you launched right into the sales strategy or the sales pitch.
Yeah.
Right. So you got audience focus.
Create the buyer persona. Buyer personas are so key, because as soon as you can understand what they are trying to do, jobs to be done, JTDB, I think is what it's called. Anyway, jobs to be done, and then the obstacle that prevents them from getting it done. That's where, and as Rob was talking about, like the resolution to the conflict in our world, in the story world, that's what it would be. But for you, like, what is that resource? What is the solution to getting them over that hump? So for a lot of people, that's why coaching works, because your job is not to help them to create a lighting structure. It's to motivate them to actually get to a place where they want to actually create the lighting structure. So I think that also is key too. Hey, Miguel actually mentioned that Epoch Cam Pro, or the free version, is also another option if you want to keep your video set up at a low cost. So I think that's a good point too. Another thing that I would suggest for other people to invest in, business owners, is invest in two things. This has helped me in the long run. Actually, three more things. First one is get some sort of whiteboard. This is the very simple one. It's don't underestimate it. No matter how big or small it is, the bigger the better. If you got the space for that. I don't even know how much I paid for that one, but let's go ahead right quick, Rob, and just kind of
let's get them for like $10 on like Amazon. You can get. 10 or
Yeah,
11.
whiteboard. So yeah, look at that. And even the bigger ones, but even like this one, like 30 or the smaller
12
ones.
by
So,
16, $15, man. You could, yeah.
right. So let's put here whiteboard
Yeah.
15. And then here's the second to last thing that I would suggest is write down your thoughts. Moleskins, like $5. Field notes are $5-10 probably, something like that.
Yeah.
You don't need to spend that much, but you want to have something that can last you for years. I have some like this one, even though the elastic is kind of like ratchet. I've had this for like almost 20 years.
Yeah, you can get those at the dollar store. You can get them at I don't know if every state has this, but Five Below. You can get those. I mean, yeah, and keep them to see your growth and your progression of your ideas. There's a great book called Choose Yourself by this guy named James Altucher, and one of the things that he espouses in that book is to write down 10 ideas daily, right? Because he's like your idea. It's like a muscle. Ideas are like a muscle. That creative part of your brain is like a muscle. And he's like, you can write down 10 ideas a day and 9 of them are probably going to be stupid. Right? But yeah, it's kind of like you get them out of your head. They're not inside your head, bouncing around, and you make space for new things to come, right? And then you can come back to some of those other ones later, but you're continually exercising that idea muscle and really helping yourself to maintain that creative vibrance, that's
good. My last one, Rob, I know you got to go, is planner. Get some planner to actually track your goals and get something very specific. I use the Full Focus Planner. There's so many different kinds that are out there. Breaks them down into quarterly, and that way you can write in your quarterly goal, pay them estimated quarterly taxes. If thou doest not. Hey, listen, Rob, I want to thank you, man, because I really was going to try to figure out how I was going to rock this by myself, especially I don't fully know. But here's the goal. If you got to dip out, Rob, it's cool. I appreciate you, man. Just in case, if you need to, I'm just going to continue chopping it up here. If you have any final thoughts, though, let me know, Rob, and then I want to hold you hostage.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, so listen, I think the biggest thing that I would say is now is the time. Now is the time, right? A lot of people they're unsatisfied with where they are, and they're also unsure of what the steps are to take, because you feel like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I may fail. I may fall on my face, and people are going to laugh at me. And here's the deal. Yeah, they probably will, but the majority of them that are laughing are also jealous because they see courage. They see stuff that they didn't have the wherewithal or the guts to take on themselves. And so their laughter is just them projecting. Their laughter is their own form of self-protection, right? From their own internal battles that they're fighting. So press on, decide that you're going to do something now, decide that you're going to take the chance. And if you're not sure, then do not be afraid to ask questions. Do not be afraid to ask questions. Chris is doing this because he's providing himself as a resource, right? So definitely reach out, ask questions, and it's the way forward. I'll give you a prime example of questions and failing, right? So I've got the Full Focus Planner as well, and I'm about in my 9th quarter of using it, right?
Okay.
I had a struggle last quarter or 2 quarters ago where I was like, I've got this thing and I'm not filling it out daily, and I'm not keeping on track with my goals daily.
Which one is for you? Is it self-care?
Yeah, right.
I just mentioned that today.
Right. So I'm not doing it. So here's what I did. I went to the Full Focus group, the Facebook group, and I outed myself. I said, hey, y'all, I'm struggling. I'm not keeping on track. I'm not doing this. I'm not. And so I said, if you'd like to form a group or, accountability, I need accountability, let me know. Dude, we had like 60 something people that commented. They were like, hey, I need this. So what we did was we just kind of formed this small text group. So there are about 8 of us on this group. Other people
Yeah.
were like, hey, we're in the UK. We're on the on the West Coast. Can we form a group here? So there's a group there. There's another group internationally that started from this one post. And so pretty much it's not this deep thing. Every morning we text and say, hey, big three set for the day, or weekly big three done. Right.
Nice.
And so that's kind of like, even if I miss it, there's a group of people that are keeping me on track to say, oh man, I missed it today. Let me get back. Right. But that doesn't happen until you show some level of vulnerability. That doesn't happen until you ask questions. That doesn't happen until you're transparent and say, you know what, y'all, I have big dreams and big goals, but right now I don't know what I'm doing. I need some help. I need some help.
You know what? I'm going to add that. into our thing here. We need a community.
Yeah.
We need a community. I want to put there. It's priceless.
Yeah.
It's such an invaluable source that you cannot. So you can't do this thing without somebody, at least one other person, to at least hold you accountable. Let alone when it gets. I think when it grows, so will the need of you having other people in your corner, or vice versa, you being in a corner with other people so that you can kind of support each other. So I have a quick story, Rob. I actually started this, the Bartley Group in 2017, and I did it by selling my dad's Hasselblad camera for about $600. It's like one of those antique for $600, and using Gary V's, eBay arbitrage, he loves using those kind of words. And so I just went ahead and did that. And I took that money, and that is what I used to get a room divider, get the LegalZoom stuff, get everything that was needed to start off. And the majority of that money was gone.
Yeah.
Take a look at the total.
Yeah.
580. And it could have been cut in half. If I decided to do some of the paperwork that I really didn't want to do. I'm going to tell you guys this, and Rob can testify. If you're paying more money, it's because you're allowing another company to do some of the easy stuff, which may seem overwhelming.
Yeah.
You're just paying to do that. And so they're going to charge you a premium for that.
Yeah. I mean, here's another example of that. So my company, because sometimes I want to apply for federal work. We're in the SAM database. It's a federal database. So there's SAM database. You gotta get cage codes, etc.
Okay.
All of that work is free, and if you do it, it literally takes you 20 minutes to do it, to sign up to do it, right?
Wow. Yeah.
But you have it's like 2 years that your registration is until it needs to be renewed.
Okay.
Every 2 years, I get calls from these companies saying, hey, your SAM database registration is about to expire. Sign up with us and we'll do it for you. Guess how much they're trying to charge me? They're trying to charge me like $600 or $700 to sign up with them to do something that I can do for free in 20 minutes.
Right. I don't even know if 3 times as much. 3 times of 0 is 0.
3 times 0 is 0. Yeah. So,
yeah.
There's that. There's Dun and Bradstreet. Get your DUNS number. If you haven't done that yet, why do you need a DUNS number? It may not be apparent immediately, but your DUNS number is like business credit, right? Your DUNS number is what is to your business like what your social security number is to you personally. Right. So get your DUNS number. There are going to be companies that say, hey, we can help you set up your DUNS number and your DNB profile and database directory for $1,000.
Right. You don't need that.
No. So So ask questions. That's it. Just ask questions.
Absolutely. Yeah. Rob, I really appreciate you.
Brother.
Listen, this here is probably maybe one of more to come, and I actually see the value in bringing somebody on, because there's some stuff that you're talking to somebody who's doing it like 3 to 4 versus somebody who's been doing it for 12 plus. You're gonna get different insight, Rob, I really appreciate you. For those of you that have just tuned in, go back and watch the beginning. It might bore you, but just know that the most important part of starting this thing is starting it. You don't need the stimulus to start.
That's it.
Don't wait for the check to come. Oh, if I can because it'll always be something else.
Yeah.
The resource that you have is already in your hand. What is in it? use it. Somebody needs it. Learn who they are, and then craft what you actually are doing to what they really need. Because sometimes what you can really do best is not what they really need the most.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So I just came up with that. So we're just gonna go ahead and end on that deep note. All right, guys, be blessed, and we'll see
All
you
right,
later.
y'all.